At Lincoln High, most students rushed through their days in a blur of noise and laughter, but in the corner of the crowded cafeteria sat Tyler, a quiet boy who didn't say much. His clothes were plain and a little worn, and he always kept his head down, avoiding eye contact. He was easy to miss if you didn't look closely. Tyler didn't have many friends. He usually ate alone at the same small table near the windows, tracing the same spot on the tabletop with his finger as if it held some secret only he knew. Most days the loud voices around him barely reached his ears, but sometimes they did. Brandon and his friends were the opposite of Tyler, loud, confident, and popular. They ruled the school halls with teasing and jokes, and Tyler was their favorite target. They laughed at his quiet nature, the way his clothes didn't fit quite right, and the way he never spoke up in class. Sometimes they would call out cruel names, hoping to get a reaction. But Tyler never gave them one. Emma watched it all from across the room. She wasn't close to Tyler, but she saw the way his shoulders slumped a little more every day and how his eyes looked tired. Emma wanted to say something, to stop the teasing, but she stayed silent, unsure if she could make a difference, or afraid she might make things worse. The cafeteria buzzed with chatter and laughter, but around Tyler, a quiet sadness seemed to linger. It was like he was invisible to most, but Emma noticed, and she couldn't stop wondering who Tyler really was beneath all the silence. The teasing didn't stop. In fact, it grew louder, sharper, like a storm that wouldn't pass. Brandon and his friends found new ways to make Tyler the joke of the school. One morning during art class, Tyler was quietly sketching in his notebook. Brandon snatched the book out of his hands and held it high. Everyone stopped what they were doing to watch. Brandon flipped through the pages, laughing at the strange, detailed drawings that Tyler had made, drawings no one understood. "Look at this. What are you, some kind of weirdo?" Brandon shouted, the room erupting in laughter. Tyler stayed silent, staring down at his feet. Later that week things got worse. Brandon and his friends hid Tyler's backpack before gym class. Without it, Tyler couldn't change into his clothes or join the team. The boys laughed and joked about it as Tyler searched everywhere. Emma saw everything, and felt a heavy weight in her chest. She wanted to stand up for Tyler, to tell Brandon to stop, but the words got stuck in her throat. She wondered if saying something would only make things worse. Despite all the bullying, Tyler never showed anger or fear. His face was calm, almost distant. It was like he expected this, and had learned to live with it. Emma noticed that in his silence, there was something strong, something no one else could see. The school days passed with the same routine, Tyler being picked on, Brandon and his friends laughing and Emma watching in silence. But beneath it all a quiet tension built, like a storm waiting to break. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Tyler was hiding something powerful, and she was about to find out. Emma's curiosity about Tyler grew every day. She started paying more attention to small details that no one else seemed to notice. One afternoon, during school cleanup, Emma saw Tyler lift a heavy box of books with ease. It looked like the box weighed 100 pounds, but Tyler carried it without struggle. His movements were steady and confident, nothing like the shy boy who sat quietly in class. Another time Emma noticed how Tyler stood with perfect posture, shoulders back and head held high. It was different from most kids his age, who slouched or fidgeted. Tyler seemed calm, collected, almost like he had been trained. One day, after school, Emma followed Tyler from a distance. She saw a black SUV pull up outside the school. A man in a neat dark uniform got out and greeted Tyler warmly. Tyler smiled for the first time Emma had ever seen, a small, proud smile. The man helped him into the car, and they drove away. Emma wanted to know more. She asked a teacher about Tyler, but the teacher just smiled mysteriously and said, "He's stronger than most people think." That answer didn't satisfy Emma. Why was Tyler connected to a man in uniform? What kind of strength did he have that no one at school could see? Every day, Emma's thoughts kept returning to Tyler. She realized she didn't really know him at all. The quiet kid who got picked on might be hiding something important. The more she watched, the more Emma wondered, what if Tyler wasn't as weak as everyone believed? What if his silence was a shield, and maybe even a kind of power? Spirit Week was the biggest event at Lincoln High. Every student was supposed to show school spirit by dressing up and joining the fun, but for Tyler, it was just another day filled with quiet dread. Brandon had been planning something special, a prank that would make everyone laugh at Tyler one last time. He and his friends whispered and snickered as they waited for the perfect moment. At lunch, the moment came. Brandon carried a tray piled high with food, spaghetti, mashed potatoes, and thick gravy. As Tyler sat alone at his usual table, Brandon and his friends sneaked up behind him. With a sudden move, Brandon dumped the entire tray over Tyler's head. The cafeteria erupted in laughter. Food dripped down Tyler's face and soaked his shirt. Everyone laughed harder, pulling out their phones to record the moment. But Tyler didn't yell or cry. He stayed still for a moment, then slowly stood up. The room fell silent. Tyler wiped the food from his face, his eyes calm and steady. He didn't look angry or scared, he looked different. Strong. Emma watched, her heart pounding. This wasn't the scared boy she had seen every day, this was someone else, someone who didn't need to fight back with words or anger. Brandon's smile faded as he realized Tyler wasn't broken. Instead, Tyler's quiet strength filled the room, turning the laughter into uncomfortable silence. Emma felt a shift in the air. Something was about to change. The Friday after Spirit Week was different. The whole school gathered in the auditorium for the annual Veterans Day assembly. Flags hung from the walls, and the air was thick with quiet respect. Tyler walked onto the stage, but this time he wasn't the quiet kid from the lunchroom. He wore a sharp, crisp cadet uniform, the kind that showed discipline and pride. His posture was perfect, his steps steady. Emma's breath caught. No one expected this. When the microphone was handed to him, Tyler spoke clearly for the first time. His voice was calm but strong. "Thank you all for being here today," he began. "I'm part of the Junior ROTC program, where I learn about respect, strength, and honor. It's taught me that true power isn't about shouting louder than others or proving yourself through fights. It's about standing firm, even when people try to tear you down." He looked out at the crowd. "Being quiet doesn't mean I'm weak. Sometimes silence is the loudest way to show strength." The room was silent. No one laughed. Brandon sat frozen, staring at Tyler as if he didn't recognize him anymore. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She realized how wrong everyone had been to judge Tyler by his silence and plain clothes. Tyler's story didn't end with the bullying. Instead, it began a new chapter, one where respect wasn't demanded but earned. After his speech, teachers and students came up to congratulate him. Even Brandon avoided his usual teasing, unsure of what to say. Emma watched Tyler walk off stage with quiet pride. The boy who had been invisible was now impossible to ignore. After the assembly, the halls of Lincoln High felt different. Tyler walked through them with a new kind of confidence, and people started to see him in a new light. Brandon and his friends no longer laughed when Tyler walked by, they kept their distance, unsure how to act around someone they had once mocked. It was clear that Tyler had earned their respect without saying a word in anger. Some students who had ignored Tyler before now wanted to talk to him, asking about his cadet training and what it meant to be part of Junior ROTC. Tyler answered politely but didn't boast. His calm strength was something that spoke louder than any words. Emma felt a mix of relief and regret. She wished she had stood up for Tyler sooner. But watching him now, she understood that real strength doesn't come from fighting back, it comes from standing tall even when no one is watching. The quiet boy who once sat alone at lunch was no longer invisible. His silence had been his shield, but now it was a symbol of something greater. Tyler kept moving forward, not with anger or bitterness, but with quiet pride. And for the first time, Emma believed that even the quietest voices can change the world. Tyler never needed to shout or fight back. He let his actions speak for him, quiet but powerful. The boy who was once the target of every cruel joke had become a symbol of strength and hope. Emma watched him from across the schoolyard, feeling a new kind of respect. She knew now that true courage isn't about loud words or fast fists. It's about standing firm when the world tries to knock you down. Tyler's story wasn't just about bullying, it was about finding power inside, even when no one believed in you. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who stay calm when everyone else is laughing. Tyler was that kind of hero, and in the quiet moments, when no one's watching, that kind of strength shines the brightest.